Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most common questions I get in my comments and emails. I found a 1965 quarter. Is it silver? Is it a rare error? What's it worth? Well, I'm holding the answer right here. And for 99.9% of you, the short answer is, it's worth 25 cents. Wait, don't click away. Because the real story of the 1965 quarter is one of the most dramatic chapters in American history. It's a story of a nationwide coin shortage, a government secret, and a massive shift that affects every single piece of change in your pocket right now. So, while your 1965 quarter might not make you rich, the story behind it is pure gold. So, let's set the stage. The year is 1965. America is deep in the Cold War. The Vietnam War is escalating. And back home, we're facing a crisis. But it's not a war or a political crisis. It's a coin crisis. People were hoarding coins like crazy. But why? The reason is simple. Silver close-up shot of a pre-1965 silver quarter next to a 1965 copper-nickel quarter. A graphic highlights the edge, showing one is silver and one is a copper, sandwiched. Up until 1964, all dimes and quarters in the United States were made of 90% silver. But in the early 1960s, the price of silver started to rise. Suddenly, the melt value of the silver in a quarter was getting dangerously close to its 25-cent face value. People aren't stupid. They started pulling these silver coins out of circulation, melting them down for bullion, or just stuffing them in jars, knowing their metal value would only go up. This created a massive shortage of coins for everyday commerce. Vending machines were empty, banks were begging for change, and businesses were struggling. The U.S. Mint was striking billions of coins, and they were just vanishing. So, the government had to act. In 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Coinage Act of 1965. This was a monumental change. It removed silver from our dimes and quarters on them. If this were true, a 1965 silver quarter would be a monumental rarity, worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Here's the truth, straight from the U.S. Mint's own records, this almost certainly never happened. The Mint was incredibly meticulous about this transition. They melted down the old silver planchets and shipped them off to be used for the special 40% silver Kennedy half dollars, which were still being made for collectors. If you see that brown copper stripe in the middle of the edge, it's a clad coin. Worth 25 cents. If the edge is a uniform silver color with no copper line, you might have something incredible. But I'm telling you, the chances are astronomically low. There are more confirmed sightings of Bigfoot than there are confirmed 1965 silver quarters. The U.S. Mint struck over 1.8 billion 1965 quarters. It was one of the largest single-year mintages in history at that point. Because they are so incredibly common, a worn, circulated 1965 quarter has absolutely no numismatic premium. It's worth exactly 25 cents. Spend it at a laundromat, use it for a gumball machine, it's just face value. Now, if you have a 1965 quarter that is in absolutely pristine, uncirculated condition, you might be able to get a small premium from a collector who needs a high-grade example for a date set. For a mint state example, you're looking at a value of $1 to $5, depending on the quality of the luster and the absence of bag marks. It's not a fortune, but it's something. You'd need to have it graded by a service like PCGS or NGC to get the top end of that range. Now, before you get completely discouraged, there is a way your 1965 quarter could be worth more than 25 cents. And that's if it has a striking error. Because the Mint was working at a frantic pace in 1965, errors did happen. Here's what to look for: on-screen graphics with photos of each error. A coin that was struck misaligned. The more off-center, the more valuable. A 5% off-center might be worth $5 to $10. A 50% off-center could be $50 or more. Look for doubling in the lettering, like, "In God We Trust." A nice, clear double die obverse can be worth $50 to $100 or more. A coin that was struck without the collar die, making it slightly larger and flatter, can be worth $10-$20 where a section of the metal blank is missing from the punching process. A small clip might be $5, a large crescent clip could be $15-$25. Remember, the error has to be significant and clear. Minor imperfections are just that, imperfections, not valuable errors. So, let's recap. The 1965 Washington quarter is a piece of history. It marks the moment America left behind silver circulating coinage forever. It's a fascinating story of economics, human nature, and government policy, but as a collectible? In circulated condition, it's one of the most common coins of the 20th century. Its value is its face value. Don't believe the hype you see online about it being a secret treasure, unless you happen to find one with a dramatic error, or you're the 1 in a billion person who finds one with a solid silver edge. Go check your change. See if you can find this historic coin. And while you're at it, check the edges of all your pre-1965 quarters and dimes. Those asterisk are the ones that are actually 90% silver and worth a nice premium. This is the 1977 Washington quarter, but more specifically, it's the 1977 bicentennial quarter. And the question I get asked more than almost any other is, Alex, what is my 1977 quarter worth? Is it a rare, hidden gem, or is it just, well, 25 cents? In this deep dive, we're not just going to give you a one-word answer. We're going to explore the fascinating history of this coin, break down its key features, and then give you the real, honest truth about its circulated value. We'll also look at the specific errors and varieties that can make this coin worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. So, grab your coin jars, and let's get started. First, let's clear up a common misconception. The bicentennial quarters were minted in 1975 and 1976 to celebrate 200 years of American independence. So why are we talking about a 1977 coin? Good question. The U.S. Mint produced the special bicentennial quarters for 2 full years. However, they were so popular, and the Mint had so many plans left over, that they continued striking the special bicentennial reverse, that's the drummer side, well into 1977. So, all 1977 quarters feature this iconic drummer design, making them a carryover, or a late-release bicentennial coin. They are not a separate commemorative issue, but they are the last of their kind. Let's appreciate the design for a second. This was created by a young art student named Jack L. Ahr. His drummer boy is meant to evoke the spirit of the colonial era, and it's surrounded by the 13 stars representing the original colonies. The obverse, or head side, features the standard Washington portrait by John Flanagan, but with the dual date, 1776. 1976 inch even on the 1977 coins. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter. You found a 1977 bicentennial quarter in your change. It's been circulated, it has some wear and tear. What is it worth? 1977 Philadelphia, no mint mark, 468, 556, 000. 1977 Denver, D mint mark, 256, 524, 978 total over 725 million coins. That's over 725 million coins. They are exceptionally common. Even in uncirculated, brand new condition, a 1977 P or 1977 D quarter is only worth about 50 cents to $1. So, a worn, circulated one is really just worth its spending power. But. And this is a very big but. You didn't think we'd end the video there, did you? Because not all 1977 quarters are created equal. There are specific factors that can turn this common coin into a prize. Value in coins comes from 3 things: condition, rarity, and errors. Since they aren't rare, we focus on condition and errors. Condition: the grade is king. If you have a 1977 quarter that has never been in circulation, it has its original luster, no bag marks, no scratches, it could be worth a few dollars. But the real money is in professionally graded examples. A coin graded MS-65, which is a beautiful uncirculated coin, might bring $10 to $15. But if you can find one graded MS-67 or higher, the value jumps significantly. We're talking $100, $200, or even more for the absolute peak examples. These are coins that were carefully preserved from the mint and are virtually flawless. So, if you have an original bankroll from 1977, it might be worth getting the best ones graded. This is caused by a misalignment in the die-making process. The letters and date appear to be doubled. This is not the common machine doubling, which is worthless. A true double die is dramatic and valuable. A strong 1977 D double die obverse in good condition can be worth $200 to $500 or more. If a coin isn't struck properly in the press, part of the design will be missing, showing a blank area of the planchet. The value depends on how far off-center it is. A 5% off-center might be worth $20, but a 50% off-center strike could be worth over $100. Remember, circulation strikes were made in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D. But San Francisco, S, made proof coins exclusively for collectors. These came in sets and were not meant for circulation. A standard 1977 S-proof quarter in its original packaging is worth about $3 to $5. However, there is a rare and famous variety known as the Type II proof. In 1977, the San Francisco Mint switched the composition of the proof coins partway through the year. The Type I proofs have a less pronounced, spread-out lettering on the motto E pluribus unum. The Type II proofs have much sharper, clearer, and more separated lettering. The 1977 S Type II proof quarter is much, much rarer. In its pristine proof condition, this coin can be worth $300, $400, or even more. If you have a 1977 S proof set, take a very, very close look at that quarter. So, let's recap. Your average, circulated 1977 bicentennial quarter is worth 25 cents. Enjoy it for its cool design and its piece of history, but you should be checking every single one for these key things. Is it in absolutely perfect, mint condition, asterisk asterisk? If so, it might have some premium value. Is it a 1977 S proof, asterisk asterisk? And if so, is it the rare Type II with sharp lettering? Does it show strong doubling on the front? Asterisk asterisk. You might have a double DIE.is the strike off center, or are there any other obvious mint mistakes? If you find one that matches these descriptions, don't clean it. Put it in a protective holder and consider getting it authenticated by a service like PCGS or NGC. I found a 1983 quarter. Is it rare? Is it valuable? Should I be rushing to eBay right now? I know. A little disappointing. But before you click away, stick with me. Because the story of the 1983 quarter is one of the most fascinating chapters in modern U.S. coinage. It marks a major turning point, a moment of crisis for the mint, and a change that affects every single quarter in your pocket right now. And yes, there are specific, rare varieties that can be worth hundreds of dollars. So, how do you know if you have a common one or a jackpot coin? Let's get into it. To understand the 1983 quarter, we have to rewind a bit. In the late 1970s, the price of silver and copper went through the roof. The traditional quarter, made of a copper nickel, clad over a pure copper core, was becoming too expensive to produce. The mint needed a cheaper solution. So, in 1982, they started experimenting. They began striking quarters on planchets. Those are the blank metal discs, that were made purely of copper nickel, with no copper core. These are called Type II planchets. But this change didn't happen overnight. For most of 1982 and all the way into early 1983, the mint was using up its old supply of copper core, Type I planchets. This is the single most important thing to look for on your 1983 quarter. The edge. Grab a 1983 quarter right now and look at its side. If you see a prominent, brown copper stripe running along the edge, you have the older Type I planchet. If the edge looks uniform and silvery, with no brown line, you have the newer Type II planchet. This physical difference is the key to its value. The vast majority of the over 1.3 billion quarters minted in 1983 are from the Philadelphia, no mintmark, and Denver, D mintmark, mints, and they are on the new, copperless Type II planchets. These coins were made for circulation and they did their job perfectly. They are absolutely everywhere in circulated condition, that means worn, with fading details, scratches, and no luster. These are face value coins, 25 cents, please, do not try to sell a worn, common 1983 P or 1983 D quarter for more. It's worth its spending power and that's it. Now, if you have a 1983 P or 1983 D Type II quarter that is in brilliant, uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used as money, it's shiny, and has all its original detail, then it has a small premium to collectors. An uncirculated example of these common issues might be worth between 50 cents and $2, depending on the quality and how it was stored. It's not a fortune, but it's a nice little find from a roll. This is what you've been waiting for. As the mint was transitioning to the new planchets, a very small number of 1,983 quarters were accidentally struck on the old, copper-core Type I planchets. These are the rare and valuable ones. The 1983 Type I is a major error coin, and it's highly sought after. But here's the critical part, they are almost exclusively known to exist from the Philadelphia Mint, so, you're looking for a 1983 quarter with no mint mark and a brown copper stripe on the edge. In a lightly circulated condition, say, extremely fine, 40, a 1983 P Type I can be worth $75 to $150. If it's in a more worn, but still clearly identifiable condition, about good, 3 to fine, 12, you're still looking at $25 to $60. And if you somehow find one in uncirculated condition, you're talking $200 to $500 or more. The record sales for these in top grades are impressive. So, checking the edge of every 1983 P quarter is absolutely worth your time, pretty straightforward. Check your change, ask friends and family, go through that old jar in the closet, look at the obverse, the head's side with Washington's portrait. Right next to the base of his neck, on the bottom right, you'll see the mint mark. Is it a D for D, or is there no mint mark for Philadelphia? This tells you which mint made it. Hold the quarter on its side. Get it under a good light. What do you see? A clear, continuous brown copper line, asterisk asterisk. Your heart should start beating faster. You might have a Type I. A uniform silvery/gray edge with no brown, asterisk asterisk. This is the common Type I. Is the coin worn smooth? Can you see all the feathers on the eagle's breast? Is there any original mint luster? This will determine where in the value range your potential Type I coin falls. I can't talk about 1983 without mentioning the San Francisco Mint. In 1983, the San Francisco Mint only produced proof coins for collectors. These are the shiny, mirror-like coins sold in sets. All 1983's proof quarters are on the Type II, no copper, planchet. They are not rare, with over 3.2 million made. A pristine 1983's proof in its original packaging is worth about $3 to $5. It's a beautiful coin, but it's not the rare variety we're hunting for today. Summarizing, so, let's recap. Your 1983 quarter is most likely a common 25-cent piece. But if it has no mint mark, from Philadelphia, and a visible copper stripe on the edge, you could be holding a coin worth $50, $100, or even more. The hunt for the 1983 P Type I is a perfect example of why coin collecting is so exciting. It turns an everyday object into a potential historical artifact and a small treasure. So, what did you find? Do you have a jar of quarters you're now desperate to check? Let me know in the comments below. Tell me if you found a Type I, or if you have any other coins you'd like me to feature in a future video. If you enjoyed this deep dive and learned something new, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more coin mysteries, history, and treasure hunts. And don't forget to ring the bell so you won't miss what's coming next. A huge thank you for watching. Until next time, keep checking your change.